Everybody's James with Orbital Defense here to give you a install video of a fix for the MP7 T7 collapsing under recoil issue. I don't know if this will work on a real MP7, but it certainly works on the Tommy built. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, as I love niche content. All right, so now that we are good to go, we'll pop out the whole punch pins in the back. Again. I'm not looking at it. All right, so now we have the punch pins out. We can take out the back plate. However, I find it easier to remove the stock before we fully remove the back plate, which you can do without taking out those pins. So we're going to take this bitch all the way out so there's less issue there. And now that we have the pins out, stock out, we can pull the entirety of the assembly out. And when you go to pop this out, your hammer is going to automatically fall forward because of the way the trigger mechanism works in the MP7, or at least the T7. So I'm just going to stick my pinky down in there to not have the hammer bang on things that it probably shouldn't be. So put that in there. There it went. Then we have our charging handle, recoil assembly, bolt carrier assembly. And then there is our hammer poking through that we braced for. So nice and fucking dirty. And then the next step will be to get the charging handle off of the bolt carrier assembly. So to do that, we're going to slide it forward until it can reach this opening in this bolt carrier group here. And then once it's there, you can slide it out. And then you're good to go. And once it's out of that, oh, fuck me, you can take your charging handle out of your back plate. So that's out, and since we're not fucking with the bolt carrier, even though we probably should clean it, then we are left with our receiver end plate here, and that'll have 4 little Allen key screws there on the inside. I don't know if that'll focus or not. Might throw in a picture if it's inadequate, but there's 4 little Allen key screws. I've already replaced this screw, so I know that this fix works, but I'm just kind of making this for the video. So now we're going to need a super teeny tiny Allen key. Let's see what size this says it is. A 0.9 Allen key. So we're going to give that a whirl, see if that's the correct size. That is too small, so thank God we have plenty of bigger ones. All right. Now that we have what should be an appropriately sized, yes sir. So let's check that bit size. A 1.3, it says on the bit. I'll link the product page for this kit because I have found it to be very useful for not just this, but for loads of other things in gun maintenance. So we're going to take out all 4 of these nice little Allen key screws. We're going to put them in our little plate there. A nice long arduous process. All right, if I spin this anymore, let's go to the other side. Oh, it's out. All right, they were just okay. It was just very tightly fit. So those guys are just kind of sitting there in the bottom of the plate, and they're good to go. So we're just going to leave those there. The other screws will find their way. And then we have the rear plate of the rear plate assembly. And so I've already got my screw in there, or spring. And so there's two springs. There's one for the stock takedown lever and the stock adjustment lever. So the stock has the big one, and that one is kind of captured in there. So that guy spins on this pin here, and then this guy also spins on the pin, but on the opposite side. So the one that you'll need to change is this guy. And so to do that, I'm just going to change out my 1.3 bit. We'll leave him up there. We're going to get a nice tiny little flathead so that we can pop out that spring. Alrighty. So I wanted to annotate this because I think they did a fantastic job. Oopsie. Compared to the original spring that it shipped with, as it's probably a one-to-one copy of the original. I'm going to get up and show it to the camera here and hopefully not drop these on my nice carpet. So here is that is the replacement screw. And there is the screw, or not screw, it's the replacement spring and the original spring. So you can see how much larger that is. It definitely increases the force that you need to adjust the spring or adjust the stock while it's all assembled. And then on top of that, at the base, there is like a little flare here, and that helps, as I have found, to retain it within the rear plate. You saw me take it apart, and it didn't, fall out entirely because there's nothing really holding it in place. It is very much just a open cavity here. So that just kind of sits in there and does its thing. And then when you pop it back in, we're going to go ahead. So we're going to do that nice flared side of the spring in there. And you'll see that it just kind of pops in there. So we got that there. You'll see that it doesn't fall out. It's kind of in there nice and firm. And then a nice firm spring tension there. So that is that guy. And now once you got him popped back in, we are good to go for the reassembly of the rear plate. So nice and easy. All right, so let me go ahead. Let me adjust this. I think I had it backwards. All right, so we can grab our plate again. And these guys just kind of fall right into place. Super easy. I'm going to start at the top so that we can have something to anchor it down because I cannot see the holes through the bottom screws. Got to go back to our original bit. All right, let's not strip that screw. Yeah. Fucking hell. Nice and tight. Last screw. All right, and we are all done. And that is the assembly plate and everything all held together. There's some lugs in there to help keep things kosher, aside from the 4 tiny little screws. But otherwise, a nice firm tension on that lever keeps things much better than the OG guy. It was very soft when I first got it. It didn't really hold it in place. You could almost just a tap would flick it up. But now it is very, very firm. So I have found it to function 100% of the time and be good to go. So let's go ahead and we can begin the reassembly. I probably should have cleaned it while we were all disassembled here. And then we're going to stick our recoil assembly into that notch in the back. Once we're nice in that notch, then we can go ahead for reassembly. And now we're all set to go. Before we stick it back in, see all nice carbon. We have to recock the hammer, which is kind of a pain in the ass because there's a link, so you can't just pull the trigger assembly out. So you have to go in there with your tiny little pinkies and cock this back. And then pray that you don't dry fire it, because if you pull the rear of the trigger assembly, it just comes undone. So now that it's nice and cocked, we can slide our lovely BCG assembly back in there, and then we're good to go. Once we got that back in, then we can take out our pins. Get that started. Falls right through, and then locks in. Very nice. And with the one in, we'll line it up with the little relief cuts, and we are back in action. And then we can just slide our stonk back in, and now you're set. So you still have very nice authority on the whole deal. Very, very nice, very firm. So I found it to be very functional and fixes the issue of the stock collapsing under recoil, because it would just hop up. I tried to recreate the issue back with the old spring to get the slide plate or the slide notch lever thing to recreate that under recoil so that I could see what was going on, see if I could fix the issue myself. I couldn't even recreate it. It really only happened whenever you're shooting the gun. But as I found with this new spring, the collapsing no longer happens under shooting or any other attempts to make it collapse. So it is very, very solid. And that is how you replace and fix the collapsing stock of a MP7 or T7. So, all right, let me put this back, and then we can end the video. While I'm on it, I believe Tommy Built announced that he's no longer going to be making the T7, and he's going to UO Arms to have them produce essentially the T7 clone. So I don't know if Tommy Built will still send the spring. I'm sure if you reach out to him on Instagram and you have a T7, he'd be more than happy to send you a spring. He was super cordial with me, didn't even ask, and just said, here's a spring. So if you have that issue, you can reach out to him on Instagram. Conversely, you can probably also reach out to UO Arms. They might help you. I don't know. I've never talked to them. So I forgot to put this back. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Not episode, I guess. I don't know. Fucking video of orbital defense. And that'll be all.